Joining us on the program right now, Bob Owens from Bearing Arms. How are you, Bob?
Doing pretty good, guys. How are you doing?
Excellent. Glad to be with us today. The Virginia governor's race, we're about a week and a half out now. Mayor Bloomberg is pouring money into this race, more than $1 million in ad buys in the Northern Virginia area, Bob. And you say that Bloomberg is lying. His political action committee lying about the quote-unquote gun show loophole?
Well, it is what they do best, other than throwing large amounts of money into a losing election. So what they did is the Independence USA PAC put out an ad attacking the Republican candidate and started out with a voiceover that says that the gun show loophole. It means anyone can buy a gun without a background check.
Yeah, let's play this clip here, Bob, and then we'll talk about it.
The gun show loophole. It means anyone can buy a gun without a background check. The dangerously mentally ill, criminals, endangering our families. Ken Cuccinelli opposed closing the gun show loophole. Against comprehensive background checks at gun shows for criminals and the dangerously mentally ill. Siding with the NRA and undermining law enforcement. No wonder the Washington Post calls Cuccinelli polarizing, provocative, and partisan. Cuccinelli, too extreme for Virginia.
Independence USA PAC sponsored this ad.
Fascinating, by the way, Mayor Bloomberg didn't put his face on that ad. I can't imagine why we didn't have Mayor Bloomberg there making his pitch to Virginia voters, Bob. But, let's talk about the ad itself. The ad uses the images of a lot of mass murderers, Bob, who did not get their guns at gun shows.
That is absolutely correct. They cycle through 4 of them fairly quickly early in the ads. They go through Swing Hui Cho, the Virginia Tech shooter who bought his Glock 19 and his Walther P22 through a licensed dealer after going through a background check. They showed Adam Lanza, who murdered his mom to get his weapons, but she passed Connecticut's background checks. They then went with Aaron Alexis, who we know passed both the FBI NICS check and then also the Virginia background check that went in place after Cho's rampage at Virginia Tech. And then just to round out the field, they showed James Holm, the Aurora, Colorado theater shooter, who also passed a bunch of FBI background checks. So claiming that these guys were in any way, shape, or form had anything to do with, a gun show loophole was, somewhere between absurd and insane.
Or just dishonest.
Yeah, that's it.
But that's the thing. I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, violent crime in Virginia itself has been going down. Gun-related crime in Virginia has been going down. Homicides in Richmond are, I believe, on pace for a 30-year low this year, and that's fantastic news. So, Bloomberg trying to scare Virginians about violent crime and about the gun laws in Virginia, look, he has to be dishonest, Bob.
Well, and that's pretty much the role of the gun control group in general. They have to be emotional. They have to be bombastic because the facts run against them. If they allow people to have a reasoned, rational discussion, they lose each and every time, and they always have.
Yeah, well, the thing is they are pouring money into this race. And I will say this, Bob, it's interesting. There have been a couple of polls that have come out, and we've talked about this on the program. I think it's undeniable Ken Cuccinelli is the underdog in this race right now. The latest polls I saw had Cuccinelli down by 12 points. I think one had him, Rasmussen, had him down by 17 points. Now, the Cuccinelli campaign strongly disputes those numbers, and I would tell gun owners, the only poll that matters is the one on Election Day. But I think, Bob, what Colorado showed us is that Bloomberg's money has its limits and can only do so much. But Virginia is showing that money has its place in politics, and money does have an impact in a statewide race when you're relying on making these huge ad buys.
It does, but keep in mind, you say Cuccinelli's down by 12. According to the polls that were out a week before the Colorado recall, Angela Guerin was winning by 12 points.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw how that turned out.
No, absolutely. Listen, I'm not saying that the race is over, but I do think that there's a certain. I think this might be an attempt by Bloomberg to come in, spend a lot of money at the last minute, and then try to take credit if McAuliffe does win.
I think you're probably exactly right on that. He damaged his brand so bad after outspending basically a bunch of nobodies in Colorado. Nobody had heard of these guys who were running against Morris and Guerin. And so, he goes in, and I think he outspent them, 6-1?
Yeah.
And then turned around, and they both got beat, and Guerin got absolutely destroyed in a heavily Democratic district. So, the polls are the polls, but they're not necessarily anything. As you said just a few minutes ago, it's the ones at the end of Election Day that matter.
Yeah, absolutely right. And, again, Bloomberg, we do know this. Bloomberg has taken an outsized interest in Virginia for a number of years now. And, with the contributions to Terry McAuliffe's campaign, if McAuliffe becomes governor, Bloomberg has got to see that as an investment, not as a donation.
Oh, absolutely. What I simply don't understand is why anybody in Virginia would want somebody like Terry McAuliffe with his track record.
Listen, I got to tell you, this is and just my own personal experience driving around the state. You don't see a lot of support for Terry McAuliffe, but it's there are those who will vote their party affiliation, regardless of who the candidate is. But, we had, and McAuliffe has run so many negative ads against Ken Cuccinelli that I think Cuccinelli's brand has been damaged, particularly among women voters. But the Richmond Times-Dispatch had an editorial this week where they basically said none of the above. They're not endorsing McAuliffe. They say they can't endorse Cuccinelli. They can't endorse the third-party candidate. And I would say that is, probably indicative of a lot of people in Virginia right now who aren't excited about any of the candidates. Now, I got to tell you, I think there's a clear difference as a gun owner between a Governor McAuliffe and a Governor Cuccinelli. But I'm just saying what I see across the state of Virginia is that a lot of Virginians really aren't interested in this race. They're not excited about it.
And that is understandable, but as you said, as a gun owner, you need to get out there and vote defensively.
Exactly. Well, listen, look, we're grown-ups, Bob. We don't fall in love with candidates. I don't want to fall in love with a candidate. I don't want to if you ever see me acting like an Obama voter in 2008, Bob, you have my permission to give me a noogie. All right?
And I will take your bacon, too.
That'll snap me out of it. So it's not about finding a candidate that you're in love with. This is about hiring somebody to do a job, and the position has to be filled. And Election Day is coming up. It's Tuesday after next in the state of Virginia, and the jobs will be filled. The positions will be filled by somebody. So it doesn't matter how excited or unexcited or, I wish we had this candidate, or I wish we had that candidate. These are the folks who are on the ballot. These are the choices that you have. And staying home is a choice in and of itself. And I might add, I think it's a bad one.
Oh, absolutely. If you stay home, you're basically letting somebody else make your decisions for you. And who wants to do that?
Yep, absolutely right. Well, listen, Mr. Owen, sir, it's good talking to you again, and hope we can do this again very soon.
All right. Sounds great, Cam.
All right, man. Bob Owens joins from Bearing Arms here on Cam and Company.